My name is Jeanne Wasserman and I'm an artist from Stellenbosch, that is in South Africa. The date today is the 23rd of October 2024 and I am answering some questions for art by artists. My background, I grew up in a dry region in the northern part of South Africa. We lived on a farm with vast open space. The red sand of the Kalahari also informed a massive part of who I am. We had a very simplistic lifestyle and our livelihood is mostly dependent on nature and where they are. After school I went to study nursing and this brought me in contact with a variety of people. I've always found people to be of great interest to me. The way people think and live in such unique and different ways. The whole psychology of man was always been very interesting to me. Another clue was that anatomy and physiology was my favorite subjects, and I still find that it creeps in my work in mysterious ways. These two things, my upbringing and my interest in people, affect my work in profound ways. I'm actually a relatively new artist. I've not been painting and drawing my whole life. I basically, at the age of 55, went back to university. That was the year of 2020, to study a 4-year degree in fine arts at the Stellenbosch University. I've always been creative, but never could call myself an artist. I received my degree end of 2023 and it was an absolute roller coaster these 4 years. I had so many doubts, so many exhilarating moments, but it was truly life-changing to me personally. 2024 was a year I spent time distilling what I discovered or what I was introduced to during my 4 years of study. And I'm in the process of figuring out where I want to take my own practice to. The one thing I do know is that drawing has always been my starting point of any project. I love drawing. I've always loved drawing. Sometimes I work with paper and line, most times I push that further and use other materials like plastic, copper thread, off-cut materials, x-rays, resin, anything to make the line and the 2D into 3D. Process work was an important part of when we studied. We have to hand in process work all the time. And I've come to find that process is sometimes basically the artwork, and I really spend a lot of time with process. I don't rush process. My work I would describe as simplistic and monochromatic in nature. My subject matter mostly refers to people and their life stories. And I can safely say that mark-making, form, posture, and texture derive from these origins of mine. The method I use range from drawing, weaving, crocheting, stitching to create multi-layered work with multi-layered meaning. The psyche of men is mostly the pivot around which my work is built around. I challenge myself to work with material out of normal context. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work at all, but I like the idea of using, reusing, transforming ordinary materials or waste. The biggest influence from other artists I would say is South African artist William Kentridge. He's always fascinated me. The way he works only in black and white, and charcoal as a medium I found fascinating. The massive scale of his work, the diversions he takes his work into, it's also interesting. He also works in the context of his own life and his own country and his own town or city. The other artist I really like is Jeanne Adams. He's a young textile artist. He's sensitive, massive textiles. Is such beautiful storytelling. He works with his own story, his own history, his history of South Africa as backdrop. Tracy Emin, I love the way her mark making and her form is just so sensitive and so absolutely beautiful. The way she uses color as well. Actually, I discover new artists every week. So there's something I take. I'm basically influenced by a lot of artists that I see out there. The biggest challenge of being an artist, I would say, is to work consistently. But I think more than working consistently, not only when you feel like it, the biggest challenge for me, I think, is to remain nimble and flexible, and also keeping with your own flow while there's pressure around, whether it's financial pressure, whether it's time pressure, or expectations of yourself or others. That is a big one. The best advice I would give anyone, and that I not only will give to artists, I would give that to anyone, is to keep on playing. Play truly is the one thing I discovered while discovering life in art. Play goes hand in hand with dreaming, I think, and play breaks all performance. I think play breaks fear, and play breaks doubt as well, self-doubt. So for me, I really try to play when I'm in my studio, even while I'm working hard and even while I'm working with hard topics. In my studio, I usually listen to music, and it varies. Sometimes it's rock, sometimes it's jazz. Lately, I've discovered Nigerian worship. Love that. It all depends on my mood and also what I'm busy with. I'm busy doing illustrations for a memoir, a personal memoir I'm making of my mother. She's 89 and very frail. So this is the project I was busy with this year. French rock works well with illustrating my mother. The best reaction I had was with my final exam. The lecturer I've been working with my fourth year, it really is someone I look up to. She's a full-time full-time artist in own right as well, not only a lecturer. I was putting up my exhibition the whole night, and the next morning I was waiting for the phone call for us to come and take our exhibitions down for the students to put theirs up for the next day. And I received a message from her that said, "Well done on a fabulous exam." And that was really the cherry on the cake for me after finishing working so hard for 4 years. And it was just lovely. lovely words. What I hope people take away from my art is maybe the same thing that I take away from other artists' work, and that is to grasp the person behind the painting more than the artwork itself. For me, it's the unique fingerprint that the artist left. To try and understand that. The way the artist worked, what was in the artist's mind, what concerns the artist has or had. That's the thing I try to find in artwork when I view that. And that maybe is the thing I hope people in a way find a piece of me when they look at my artwork. And that maybe it enlarge oneself, your view of oneself or your view of others. I end off with a quote from El Anatsu. He's a sculptor he was born in Ghana and he lived his life in Nigeria, I think. And he was the one that said, art is the one language we all speak and is infinite in power, and it holds together through the idea of being united.